What up? It's your boy. No, I'm just joking. That's a horrible intro. I hate intros like that. It's just me. And I'm gonna get straight into the video. I'm gonna talk about customs. Customs. This map right here. And things I wish I knew about customs. A little bit before I tell you things I knew about, we're gonna go over. This is me. Safety first, boys. Always wear your goggles. But yeah, I got about 750 hours. This is what I've learned by playing customs. And things I wish I knew about playing customs. I'm gonna get straight into it, and I'm actually gonna get off this screen and I'm gonna go to the map, which is in my wonderful paint program here. And you get to listen to the wonderful Tarkov music as I talk. And I'm gonna talk primarily about the map and things that I learned while playing customs. And as you can see here, I'll link the map in the description below if you want it. But these little green cylinder things are your scav extracts. Your little blue dots are your player spawns. And your green extracts can actually be your player extracts too. So I'm going to primarily talk about from a PMC perspective. And I'm going to get into it. So, there's a lot of spawns on this side. Start over here. A lot of spawns over here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 spawns? That's a lot of spawns. And then there's a lot less on this side, but generally in this general. Starting on the big red side of the map, that's divided by the river, I have learned 2 things. Okay, 2 things mainly. Everyone either tries to sprint across to get to where most of the land mass is, or they sprint directly to the nearest spawn and try to start PvP. There's very little loot over here. There's a couple jackets. There's like 4 scav spawns. The most I've seen is 5 scavs on this side of the map, so it's not very scav heavy compared to the other side of the map. But generally what I see is people really quick PvP or just trying to get across. And generally when people get across, they go across 2 areas that I've seen. They either go really high and take junk bridge. I've seen a few people take main bridge, but I see mostly taking junk bridge when they're up here, and then south bridge on this map. A lot of south bridge and going across south bridge quickly, whether it be to get to the group of scavs that spawn here or sniper scav, because there's some quests that involve killing scavs on customs. It's an easy scav to get. A lot of spawns can get there quickly, but yeah, generally Southbridge. I primarily see Southbridge as the main way to get across. That's just my experience though. But, you know, generally speaking, I think most people that spawn on this side of the map go across Southbridge. Now, the beauty of Tarkov is the randomness. You never know what you're going to run into. And with customs being primarily the heavy questing map, the map that has the most quests on it, it's hard to say what you're going to run into. Generally, I think you run into a lot of low-geared people or a lot of high-geared people, because I think at the end of the day, when you're all said and done, this is where the PvP settles. It's on custom. Keep that in mind. This is where the Chads lay their bed. Okay? This is where they fall asleep at night. Anyway. Done with that a little bit. So, on this side of the map, your main sorts of the loot are in Big Red, the customs building. And that's about it. Yeah, there's a couple like weapon crates and coats up in these little blue buildings inside this customs area. But generally, there's not a lot of loot here. Then, when we go to the big side of the map and where everyone generally rotates to, is probably construction. Is a high traffic area, especially along this little elbow part that where the body can be found for your key, for your quest. The front of construction, kind of by the pit area, and then everyone knows dorms, and then gas station. This is generally where I see the most amount of PvP. So I'm going to talk about construction first. Construction is, I would say, when people are rotating to their extracts or when people are rotating from their spawns is generally where you run into people and the PvP happens at construction. There's a lot of breaks in the fence in the wall, and there's a lot of areas to try to wiggle through and avoid, and there's a lot of scavs here. So if you need scav kills of any kind, this is a decent place to be. It's not the place I would go if I wanted to get scav kills because of how high traffic it is. However, I've found that generally you'll find 2 to 5 scavs in this area, and if you're lucky enough, you can get sniper scav to make it an easy 6. There's not a lot of loot here. There's just really the notable medical bag or duffel bag, excuse me, in the elbow area. But given that it's a nice choke point, it leads up to one of the only 2 areas to get across the other side of the map. And I think that's why it's generally a high traffic area, because it's a natural funnel down to Southbridge. There's a lot of ways to get there. There's a lot of cover, and there's a lot of spawns here. And there's a few quests in the area, such as the tanker and the UN trucks. But yeah, a lot of people decide to go through Elbow and come in on the backside and then exit out your pit train bridge kind of area to get over here. Or it's a natural segue to get to dorms. We'll talk about dorms next, because I felt like I beat the construction bitch into the ground. But no, generally construction's high traffic area. Now, dorms. Talk about dorms for a lot, because generally, when in doubt, someone's at dorms. Okay? You're in customs. Assume someone's going dorm. No! Sorry. When in doubt, assume someone's at dorms. Okay? Assume there. Assume this. Why is that? Because I want to make this. 2 reasons. Marked room. Right there. 3rd story dorms. Fat loot. Fat loot. Rashala. Scav boss. 33% chance or something like that. And spawn there. Also, fat loot. Him and his guards. They spawn with good loot. Also, quests. Lots of quests. PvP. There's a quest specifically devoted to PvP in dorms. Okay? So when in doubt, assume people are at dorms. Also, assume people in dorms early. People spawn here and sprint to dorms. Best spawn for dorms. Good spawn for dorms. Generally your best 2 spawns. This isn't an awful spawn. I've been first to dorms from here and ran past this guy. This is also not an awful spot to dorms. Lots of ways to get to dorms quickly. Generally all on this side of the map. This spot still isn't even a bad spot for dorms. Okay? I think you get my point. But your best 2 spawns are, yes, this spawn and this spawn for dorms. And who's going marked room? Your guy with a Burkett backpack and a pistol and that's it. Or your Juice Lord Chad who's super sweaty because he's carrying all the gear in the world and all of your mother's gear. You never know. But yeah. When in doubt, assume someone's at dorms. Now, dorms is hard or easy depending on where you are. If you're already in dorms, dorms is easy. Hold the angle at the stairs. They can only come in 2 ways and it's a funnel. Hallway fighting at its best. Who has the better angle? So if you're not first, I hope you have nades, because that's about the only way you're going to break into dorm, if you have nades. Or you're like Willers or Warren or Landmark and you just win every gunfight possible. Now, after dorms, this area right here, a lot of traffic, and then like along the fence. See a lot of people going along the fence because they're trying to get the smugglers boat quickly. They're taking the car, or they're rotating into dorms or outside of dorms. So I generally think that most people decide to rotate along or close to the fence line rather than willy-nilly wherever. But that's just my experience. Another thing, West Forest. It's basically dorms. This is an awful spot to fight in. I would have tried to avoid fighting here. Why? It's who sees who first. Okay? Don't care how good you are, how many nades you have, how expensive your kit is. West Forest is all about who sees who first. So, if you can avoid fighting in West Forest, avoid fighting in West Forest. That's all I'll say. Next, we're gonna go to my next area where I find a lot of people at is gas station. A lot of people go to gas station because this checkpoint here with this UN sniper has a lot of scavs. This is generally, if I spawn on the right side of the map, this is where I go to kill scavs. If I spawn on the left side of the map, I go here to kill scavs, and then I go here. I don't know whether it be because there's the spawn here or whatever, but I've killed 17 scavs in the gas station area before. So, heavy scav area, great place to get your AKS. For Prapper, you have to get 25 scav kills on customs. I got almost all of mine done here. Another reason why gas station's a good spot, besides the one quest, is the Reshala spawn. And then Reshala, I generally find right here on the outside or right here on the outside. And if you're happy enough, lucky enough to get this spawn or this spawn, and you sprint straight here in the first 30 seconds, you might even catch Reshala on the hill on rocks. But yeah, generally, this is where I run into a lot of people and a lot of scavs. Reshala is always a prize. People like to stay on these rocks because it's easy snipes and you have a great view of this part of the map right here. From rocks is what I like to call it. If you're on the map, you know what I mean. Just rocks on the wall. You can catch Reshala catching on there. It's actually, if you don't catch aggro on the guards, it's a decent spot to kill all the guards in Reshala. If you have a sight line on them at the gas station. But yeah, it's where I run into my primarily my third highest PvP area on the map. Also a death sentence. Assume, like I said, with dorms, assume someone's on the rocks. Okay? Assume someone's on the rocks. More than likely, somebody is. Now, the rest of these areas, it's generally people spawning or going to extract. I don't really find a lot of people here. Occasionally you see someone at the van because of the flash drives. Flash drives do spawn here. Nice place. We call it flash drive van in my friend group. But yeah, generally I don't see a lot of people hanging out here. There's a decent amount of loot here, but generally I don't see a lot of people hanging out. A little tidbit is shortcut is I don't use it a lot because I don't like using the factory key. You need a factory key to use factory shortcut. I think that's why it's called factory shortcut. However, I see a lot of people going out through here. It's one of the only ways to get in to this area of the map, but in my experiences, if I can get the shortcut to get to my extract, which I'm generally trying to take this extract if I'm on this side of the map, if I can get the shortcut, I can get right here too. So why am I using the key to get into shortcut? Just my experience, if you like using the shortcut key and you have the key, go ahead. Generally, I see a lot of people get hung up in this area, and that's why I try not to use shortcut, because you're just there for a long time. When you're there for a long time, you're usually dead. Right? Like, staying still is your enemy. Okay? don't stay still. Always try to be somewhat, not moving, but like have a purpose. Don't just sit somewhere with no purpose. Try to be working towards something. Now a little bit more about the map. Then stashes are a great way to make money. You see a lot of stash runs. They're this little gold things on the map. I think there's 19 of them, maybe 20. I don't know exactly. I'm not going to count for you. It's going to go around circling a bunch of them. But yeah, you can hit a lot of stashes and be in and out of customs in 10 minutes. Okay? You can get a lot of good loot. You can get a lot of nothing, but you can get a lot of good loot too. And lastly, I'm going to say customs is a 35-minute timer, okay? 35 minutes. Okay, this is your time. Be 35 minutes, okay? You get the idea. Customs is a very short map. It's one of the shortest maps. Now, generally, after about 20 minutes, 20 minutos, most of the PMCs are out of custom. My experience, different every raid. Generally, people are quick on customs. They go to dorms, they hit marked room, they leave. They go to gas station, they see if Rochelle is there. They go to dorms, they see if Rochelle is there, he's not there, they leave. Go to construction, dorms, they PvP, they get 3 kills, they leave. Generally, people aren't sticking on customs long. And if they are, they're either really low gear guys who are waiting late in the raid to get easy scav kills without having to worry about getting shot by every single PMC on the map. They're doing a quest such as like the Golden Swag or Chemical Part 2 or Chumming, and they're waiting late into the raid for more of the PMCs to get out. Or they're super geared chads and they killed literally everything, and then there's not really a care in the world. They killed Rashala, anyone who's come towards them they've killed, and they're just trying to figure out what to do with all of their loot. But I would say most of your PMCs are in that 12 to 20 minute range on the map. Very rarely do I see PMCs stretching the timer on customs compared to other maps. So that's about all I have. Quick rundown in 30 seconds or less. What I learned about customs and things I wish I knew. Assume that everyone's at dorms. Okay? That's the number one thing. Assume someone's at dorms. Okay? And generally think customs is a PvP map. Video went a little long, but I appreciate you sticking around. If you made it to this part, please like and subscribe because it helps me out a whole deal. I'll be going into more maps in the future, and if you have a topic you'd like me to cover, put it down in the comments below and I'll get right on that. If you didn't like the video, you can dislike the video, or you could still like the video because it helps me out a whole deal. But if you don't like the video, or I could do something better, put a comment down. Tell me what I could do. I'll improve. I promise you. I'm here to please. But most important thing of all of this, have a great day.